Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to work on carving up a beginner style bear in a stump. All right, so if your neighbor has taken down a tree and he bucked up those logs into short pieces and you're like, oh great, you know, he's offering me free wood but I can't do anything with it. Hold on, hold up, you can. Don't just, you know, have him burn it. Go ahead and grab that piece. Let's turn it into something. In this case, this piece is just shy of 12 inches tall. It is roughly 11 1/4 across all the way around. All right, so the plan is going to be a bear head with two paws just kind of coming up over the stump. This will be a simple, basic, beginner style carving. Something you guys can make, and once you get a few down, you'll be fairly quick, fairly easy, and we'll sell them cheap, you know, like 60 bucks kind of thing. 50, 60, you know, whatever makes you happy. So if you guys are interested in this, get ready. We're gonna go ahead, strap this camera right here. We're gonna have one right on the saw, and we're gonna go and get into a step-by-step tutorial creating a bear in a stump. So don't go anywhere. Get your saws sharp, get your safety gear on, get your tools ready. Let's get started. All right guys, you might be thinking, what do I need to start this? All right, I'm gonna be running an MS 250. This 250 has the same sprocket, bar, and chain setup as a 170 or an MS 180. Those are steel chainsaws, okay? So what we're talking about is a 16-inch bar running 43 gauge Pico chain, okay? Nothing crazy. This is the saw I'm gonna use. That's it. Next, I'm gonna be using a Dixon wood crayon, okay? Everything I'm talking about here, guys, I'm gonna do my best to link it through Amazon. We're gonna use this to draw our pattern on. Another big important thing next to your safety gear and your saw is some way to secure your log. In this case, I'm using a jaw horse. If you're gonna be serious about carving, a jaw horse is a great investment. You do this upgrade. If you're not sure how, video popping up here, show you how to do that, okay? If you don't have a jaw horse or you can't afford a jaw horse right away, there's another easy, simple option for you beginner carvers. I've got a video for it, believe it or not, that'll be popping up here. Go watch that first so you guys can see how to secure your log before you start to carve. It is a must do on smaller pieces. You want to secure this piece. It's not very big. There's not a lot of weight. You don't want your saw ripping this thing all over, okay? And safety really is important. We're running tools here, okay? All right, now let's see if this works out. There should be a quick drawing popping up of the finished piece. You probably already saw the beginning of this, but we'll have a quick drawing popping up so you guys can kind of see what we're going for right now. All right, so from that drawing, we want to go ahead and look at the top of our log, right? Look at that. If you buy these crayons, don't leave them out. The squirrels like to eat them, okay? And then they crap red all over the place. So pick up your crayons. Because he's in a log, we got to make the head smaller than the block of wood. And so we kind of start with like a circle-ish, oval-ish, weirdish shape in the center of our log, right? 5 inches, 6 inches across. Figure out where figure out center. In this case, the center of the log is here. How do I know? Because this is where the rings start. I want to put that near the back of the head. So if my carving cracks, hopefully the crack will be back here and not in the face. All right. So boom, circle, line, put an ear on near the back of the head, an oval shape, another one, an oval shape. Most of the shapes we will be cutting will be triangles and wedges, but we will turn things into an oval-y shape. Now, I actually want to draw a line across the front of this circle that we did. All right, my center line is awful. Let's redo that a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to bring our bear snout up into here. This is basically a topical view, all right? When I get into cuts, I'm going to try to voice over how deep we're going, but this is like our basic shape, right? So this leaves us room to have shoulders and our paws, shoulders and our paws. Now we're going to remove all this material so you're not even going to see these yet. And we'll get into it, but that's going to be our top shape for the most part. Oh my gosh. Let's fire up a chainsaw and let's just start making this thing. All right, guys, you ready? First cut.
Little bit of an angle. We're gonna cut down just behind that red line. Cut down, cut down, cut down, kind of angle it back just a little. Take the saw, figure out how far down or how high up the stump's gonna be. Cut in a little bit, that's what we just did. And then we're taking the saw and we're gonna cut down to that line and this piece will pop right off. So most of this will be real time carving, all right guys? Not really speeding it up, that's why it's a half-hour video. This way you guys can see what's going on, you know, slowly. So here we're cutting into the front of the ear. Now I cut down about 1/2 inch at the top of the head, and as the saw cuts down, I pull the saw away as it's going down deeper. So here, cut down about 1/2 inch. And as you see, I'm pulling the saw back. As I pull the saw back, I go deeper, thinking about where that ear will round on the side of the head. Now, what I'm saying right now, if it doesn't make sense, it will make sense as you see the piece come together. So it's obviously this video is here for you guys to come back to, rewatch, slow down, rewind, reference it, you know, all that kind of stuff. These are angle cuts. In the scheme of things, you're thinking about triangles and wedges. While it may not be a perfect triangle or perfect wedge shape, everything is kind of a triangular, wedgular shape. I just made that up, but you guys see what I'm saying. Alright, now moving to the front. You're going to want to angle the saw. We're carving away from the center. And you want to work the saw to the ear line that you made, okay? So if you see I'm working the saw back and forth, if you hold the saw and pay attention, you'll feel the nose of the bar pop through to that ear line, hopefully not cutting too much into your ear. Alright, boom, there it is. I like to just lop that off a little bit, cut that in. Alright, some basic stuff there. Ooh, see that kickback right there? Yeah, it happens. I had a perfect ear, and I just jacked it up. It's alright though, we'll clean it up, make it look good. Those things happen though, so be paying attention right there, kickback, right? You want to have a good grip on that saw, guys. It happens. That was a little bit of kickback, nothing crazy. So now we're looking at the other side. I was pointing at it, you know, really trying to get some different angles here. I got to work on these camera angles next time, but it is what it is today, right? Hopefully this will be able to get you guys started though. So we're making the same cut on the opposite side. Work the saw back and forth, just kissing that. You'll feel it just pop through, pull it back. Pop through, pull it back, pop through, pull it back, all right? Work your way all the way down the piece. Boom. And if you didn't get in there perfect, just remove some and remove some, right? You can see my line there. So I gotta keep removing material because you don't want that overcut line. So just keep working it back. Go ahead, cut the corner off your ear. Do that little upcut that I did earlier. Remove it. I guess I'm not going to this time. This line that I just put in, you don't go all the way across the front because of the paws, but I just do it on the sides, okay? Not in the front, just on the sides. When you do that line, that shows where the top of the stump is, and that is going to define where your bear is and the stump is. It's important to have this look like kind of like two pieces. I mean, not exactly like two pieces, but the illusion is these are two pieces, a stump and a bear, okay? So here I'm just angling everything. There really shouldn't be a bunch of straight, hard edges. There shouldn't be straight cuts, okay? We're angling pretty much everything. So just think about that when you're walking around, you're looking at the piece throughout the carving. Now here we are getting ready to cut the front of the face, the forehead and the eyes kind of area. I'm trying to figure out where the camera can be here for you guys, but all right, so looking at the saw, it needs to be angled away from the ears a little bit. All right, that's not straight up and down. I'm angling away. So the bottom of the bar angles away from that. And I went down about 3/4 the height of the bar. Now we're gonna go ahead and kind of cut down and angle back toward the face, just very, very slightly here, okay? Most cuts are not straight cuts. Remember that, we're always putting an angle on it. So we're not angling away from the bear, we're angling into the bear. All right, now here, we're chopping this piece off. We're not going down too far because we need to leave room for the arms and the paws. We're keeping that in mind. We're not cutting that line there all the way down to the top of the stump. We need to leave meat for his arms. Now you come up, you find your line, angle that down. You guys can see there on the left, it showed like an angled piece. Okay, you guys can kind of see what's going on now. And go in, thin this face out. It cannot stay that thick or it won't look right. So go in, cut to the ear. You got to kind of gauge some of this yourself, all right, guys? You got to be able to look at it and go, all right, this is how much I got to take off. And it takes practice, you know? It just does. It takes practice. So if I thin the face, I want to thin the ears just a little, or leave big chunky ears, totally up to you guys. Again, not going to the top of that stump line, but just kind of going up to where I think I'm going to have his shoulders and arms be, which is basically plunge cutting right below the ear, and it ends up being like the height of this bar, so it actually works for this piece. Again, this piece is about 12 inches tall, so 12 inches tall, and what I say, guys, like 11 across, something like that. So if you're carving the same piece, working the same bar, you should be pretty good. Rounding off the back corners of everything. Now, you know, I'd like to say you have to do it in an exact specific order. The one thing you really have to do is start with head and go from there. It's a good idea to plan on creating your carving top to bottom, regardless to what it is. Then you can work on your proportions. So getting our wood crayon, finding center, drawing in the top side of the snout. Hopefully you saw the angles. Drawing center, bottom of the snout. Now if you notice, the bottom of the snout angles away from the top. It should be a little wider. We're going for a little bit of a cutesy bear here, right? So the bottom should be wider than the top. All right, so look at the saw. You have two angles to play with. Put it on the red line, get that angle. Now tilt the saw to match the angle in the front, and then make your cut. All right, so we did two angles there. Touch your line, tilt your saw to match the angle in the front. All right. Hopefully this is kind of making sense, guys. Like I said, I know it's a half-hour video. Most of it's pretty much just real time. These bears, though, once you guys, I don't know, once you do like 20 of these, heck, once you do 10 of these, you'll be quite a bit quicker. But let's not focus on being fast. Let's focus on the design that you want. Speed comes with practice. Practice comes in time, right? So the first thing you have to do, though, is practice on getting your piece the way you want it. First one's not going to be it. Second one's not going to be it. You get into 5 or 10, you're going to be close to what you want it to look like, and you're going to get into a rhythm. By the time you start hitting, 20, 50, carve up 100 of these, you could almost carve 100 of these in your sleep. So, or with your eyes shut, maybe not in your sleep. I'm just saying, it gets easier with time. Once you get a pattern and a design down, you won't have to think about every cut. It'll just start coming to you. And then once you'll be able to apply different things like you're doing here in other pieces. So as you guys can see, I sort of outlined the arms, and now we're removing material with the saw at a little bit of an angle. I don't want those arms big and blocky, but I want them to look like they're kind of up on top of the log. Like his arms aren't down inside and his paws are just popping out. Sort of want like his forearms and maybe elbow area sort of like up on top of the stump he's in. Now here it can be a little tricky because you want to remove that material between the arms, otherwise it just doesn't look right. It doesn't give him the depth that he should have to separate him from the stump. The stump and the bear don't separate. So you can make small cuts, not super crazy. You don't want to go past the depth of the neck that you've already made. You do different angles and things like that, shallow cuts, work the saw, and you know, clean that area up. Then you get in there with the nose, kind of a scraping motion, or sanding with the saw, as I'll call it in the other videos. Here the saw is on its edge, turn sideways, and I'm plunge cutting in just to make that a nice clean spot. Now I got to work the nose in there to get that little piece out, and boom, it's pretty clean, looks pretty decent. But now I want to round the arm down just a little bit. This would be like the wrist to paw area. Again, I don't want these hard, square, blocky edges. If you want them, then leave it. I just like mine a little more rounded. So you can see everything's kind of getting rounded over. Now if you're a beginner carver and you're not sure how to sharpen your chainsaw, I've got a video for that, guys. I'm actually gonna put it up right here, top of the screen. It is a really good idea to keep that saw sharp. Your chain on your saw and your bar should not be smoking. You should be throwing chips all the time. You should cut pretty smooth. So keep a sharp chainsaw. A dull saw is more dangerous than a sharp one. It's kind of the same thing, you know, like with a knife. Dull knives are more dangerous than sharp knives because you're using more force to make it happen. If it's sharp, the saw does the work for you. You don't have to put a lot of force into it. So all I'm doing is rounding the arms once again, okay? We're just rounding the arms and the paws, and we're giving them a nice rounded shape. Bears aren't square. They're not. I see a lot of people carve square bears and they leave them, and that's fine. That's fine. But if you don't want to be doing square bears, or if you want to take it a step further than that, you have to round all those corners before you start putting fur on. Now I can't get to the front of the paws, so what I've done is I've turned the bear and the jaw horse so that I could get to those paws because the jaw horse was in the way. And now angle cutting up to the line that I created to outline the paws and the arms. All right, so it's just an angle cut up. Now in this video, we're not doing claws and all that, all right? It's just gonna be furring. We're gonna keep it pretty basic, pretty simple. The next video, because there's gonna be a part 2, we are gonna use some Saburrtooth tools and a die grinder and put in some nice eyes, clean up the face so it's a much cleaner, nicer face. But you guys will see. You'll see what I'm talking about. Listen, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe. When you guys hit subscribe, be sure to hit that bell, hit all, double check, make sure your YouTube notifications are on so you guys aren't missing videos. The YouTube algorithm can be crazy sometimes, and if you don't have all that stuff going, there's potential that even if you are subscribed, you might be missing videos I've already got out there. So, just saying. Also, you guys can check out the playlists. We've got tutorials, time-lapse videos, furniture, all kinds of stuff, all right, guys? A lot of stuff for beginners, and just a lot of other content for you guys to check out. So, furring, all right? Furring is fun. Furring is fun. We're going to be using the side of the nose. Now, be careful for kickback, have control of your saw. You're only using one side of the teeth. You're not using straight cuts. So the saw is always at an angle, and it's only one side of that bar is actually cutting the wood, okay? So at an angle. It should almost look like you pulled wedges out of where his fur is. Here with the saw we're getting in, I want to round that snout just a little bit at the top. It kind of kicks back to where the eyes will be. This gives you a little idea of where you're going to put your eyes in the face. Round everything over, right? Those are straight edges up there from the cuts we had made. Again, the saw can be used a little bit like a sander, at least to an extent, right? There's kind of a good shot of the furring there. I think I have a furring video with this chainsaw, or maybe even with another one, but I will put that up at the top of the screen if you guys want to get a better look, and I think it's a little more in-depth detail talking about furring. Also, I do plan on creating a new one of those, so when I do, I'll probably replace whatever's up there with the new one. So, yeah, good times. Alright, so we're just working on furring still, guys. Different angles. All the fur, you shouldn't stand on one side of the bear and just work your way all the way around. You start in the center, work your way around. So like the front center, work your way around to the back center, and then go to the opposite side of the bear and do the same. Don't always have like your left arm near the bear and you do fur and walk all the way around. All your fur pattern looks the same then. Alright guys, missed the nose, my bad. Talking about a fur pattern. So the saw is at an angle, right? You guys saw that dry stick angle to come up and just kiss the nose. Do that on both sides. Sand the nose over just a touch. Now here you can get really good kickback because we're using the very tip of the bar. So you really need to grip the saw there or it's going to rip right across his snout. And that'll happen on both sides, okay? So there we go, mouth done, nose done. Now what we want to do here is angled, all right? Ooh, clipped his nose a little, but that'll be all right. You know the angles we just rounded over on the snout? That gives you just enough room to get your bar in there to create the eyes. Because we're not using any other tools in this video. We're gonna make those nice eyes and things in the next video. This is just for those of you with very, very basic stuff. Basically a chainsaw, maybe a torch, and a couple little things. All right, just playing around with that fur pattern a little. We're gonna go back and touch those eyes up one last time. And basically all we do is we kind of widen the eye socket. So it gives you enough room to paint the eyeball. All right, see how we kind of cut that out? And we kind of cut that out. I'm not trying to make an eyeball, I'm sort of making like an eye socket area that'll give you room to paint them.
All right, guys, so hopefully you've had fun. Hopefully my instructions were good enough and you're this far, right? We've got some furring on here, okay? See the furring pattern is done. And honestly, if all you have is a chainsaw, this is it. This could be your bear. Let's hit this thing with a torch in high speed so you guys can actually see it basically finished. All right, guys, so I decided just to grab my 1 pound propane torch, all right? This is the TS 8000, 1 pound Coleman tanks, propane, nothing big, right? So you blow this off with air, get all the dust off that you can. It's also a good idea to get rid of the bark all the way around. I'll peel this off later. The bark's gonna fall off. You don't want it to fall off for a customer. It's better to have it fall off on you. Now the 1 pound propane torches aren't super hot. All right, unless you're using the yellow tank or the blue tank, you'll get a hotter flame. But I realize a lot of people may just have this. So this is what we'll do for now. Basically it. I'm not gonna burn the face, the snout area too much. I don't want that like dark. I just want it to have like a nice light tan. So, do you guys see what's going on here? There's a lot of sap and the wood is green. So is it burning really easy? No, it's not. So what you can do is you can burn the whole thing like this to this point, right? You can call it done. You can burn it to this point, brush it down, hit it with paint, or burn it to this point and let it sit in the shade for a few days and come back to it. A couple days in the shade, not the sun. Now it may get some cracks, it may get some splits as it sits. That happens. But it'll be a little drier and you can come back and you can do a second burn on the bear and he'll get a little darker for you. He or she, I should say. All right, so we're just going through, we burn it. It does take a few minutes, you guys. This is, you know, real time. Sometimes you hit pine pitch and it'll flare up like this. The sap will catch fire. You know, if you're doing this where there's a lot of sawdust, have a bucket of water on hand, a fire extinguisher. Be smart, be safe. I have those things off to the side. My gas cans are away from where I'm carving. It's a good idea to even keep your saw farther away than that, you know, because usually there's bar oil and gas all over. Think about it, you know, did you get gas on your clothes, filling your saw? Like, you got to be smart. This isn't for everybody, you know, this is for those of you that are trying and are starting out. I realize some of my followers are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so basic. But you know what? I'm also realizing there's a lot of people that are looking for basic. beginner. Somebody's got to start their art at an entry level. And for those of you that have been here a while, you guys know I've got some more detailed videos, and if you need a video that's more detailed, what is it? What do you need? Let's see what we can do to make it happen for you. Now normally I high speed this, but I thought I'd show you guys real time. I realize it makes the video longer, but hey, now you get to see how long it takes with this. Now, with the bigger torch I use over here, we'd have been done 10 minutes ago. That burns a lot hotter, but you're talking about spending several $100s for that sort of torch, where you can spend, what, 50 bucks on this thing, or you already have one for camping or whatever. All right, so you guys get it. He's burnt. Now, the rest is kind of up to you if you want to slap some paint in these eyes, all right? Or if you want to paint the nose black. Again, totally up to you to finish this piece. This is where you come in with a brush, though. So what this does is remove any of the soot that comes off on your hand. All right? Kind of go through and you brush it down. Now, if you let this guy sit for even a few hours, you could probably get a better burn on him. But if he sits for at least 2 days, you can go back through, reburn your fur, hit your nose, and up here, give it another good brush, and you'll end up with like this on your entire piece. And it'll look pretty good. And that'll be that, you know, your basic bear will be done. You guys will be able to sell this for like maybe 50 bucks, 60 bucks. You know, it kind of depends on your area. It's always tough for me to put a price on it because it just depends on where you live, where you're from, and how they're gonna sell. So you have to be prepared to change your prices, especially at a beginner stage. Now, if it's just a gift, then don't worry about it. You know, you had fun, you created your first bear. Now, keep an eye out for part 2, carving a simple bear and a stump. In part 2, we are going to add eyes with the cross-cutter burr. We're gonna do some more shaping and cleaning up with the flame burr, okay? And then we might even do paint and hand paint the eyes just for that little bit more detail. So like right now, you know, honestly, like it is, I'm thinking about it, maybe 40, 45 bucks, 50 at most. We do that extra work, I'll bump it up to like $60 on this piece. Something else to remember, put your initials in, guys. Use that chainsaw, put your initials in the back, or use your die grinder if you have one. So be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, all right? Keep an eye out for that next video. Hope you guys had fun. Leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think for those beginners. And we are also going to be working on, for those of you that have been around for a while and you're looking for something new, we're gonna be doing a detailed eye video here in the near future, so keep an eye out for that as well. We're gonna go through some different styles of how to carve eyes with different burrs, different bits for the more advanced carver if you made it this far in the video. And that's it. That's all I got for today, guys. Really appreciate you watching. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, give me some feedback. And, oh yeah, hold on. If you guys want to help support the channel and rock some channel merch like this, check out the bar below the video and all my other videos. Go to Teespring through that link below this video and get you some Cowhall Woodworker merch. Really do appreciate it. Show your support. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Check out some videos popping up. See you guys later.